Hey everybody, it's Simply D and I'm back with another video. Welcome to In the Blind, or as I like to call it, My Life in the Blind, because as we know, everybody's experience is a little bit different, and we're talking about mine right now. So I know it's been quite a while since I've uploaded to this channel, and there are a couple of reasons for that, but instead of diving into all that, what I wanted to talk about today is the idea of success and failure, and what it really means to succeed versus what it means to fail. Now, there are a lot of quotes out there. There are a lot of people who talk about my goal is to be successful. But when you ask those people what it is to be successful to them, it is often referred to in the idea of I have to have a lot of money, or people have to think that I'm successful, which means that it is more predicated on what other people think and not so much about what makes you personally feel successful. Now, it's easy to get caught up in I'm going to adjust this a little bit. There we go. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that success is monetary, or success is having a particular type of lifestyle. But especially like if you're watching a lot of media and they say this person is successful because they own 17 companies, or this person is successful because they drive this kind of car. Now, off the rip, that means that technically, according to those standards, I don't meet the definition of success because I don't own 17 companies and I ain't driving nobody's car. Okay, people love their car and hopefully love me enough to not say, hey D, here are the keys. So, although, now I must admit, I did have a friend let me park a car, and I'm actually really good. My mom taught us to drive, although we're visually impaired. This is a side note, by the way, for those of you who are not used to this channel. Understand that occasionally I will go off on side notes when we're doing these talking head videos. So, that being said, let's get back to where we're supposed to be. Anyway, you guys, so the idea is it's important to know what success is to you personally. For me, it is something that makes me feel as though I've accomplished something. Now, success to me starts off with my relationship, my spiritual relationship with God, because I feel as though that's where my strength, that's where my foundation is, okay? And then everything else off of that is everything is built on that. So for those of you who may have a different way of thinking about things, I would say that another way to say it is my strength and my foundation is built on my moral compass, my moral direction, my sense of understanding the difference between right and wrong. Not necessarily what's right and wrong for everybody else, but what's right and wrong for me as an individual. Okay, so yes, there's a way that we should be in our communities. There's a way that we should respond to our neighbors and our friends. And there is a way that we should respond to even those that we don't know, who we one day want to see as our neighbor and friends, right? Like, I do believe that it's important to show yourself friendly, even if those people don't necessarily consider you a friend. I know. It's a weird way to think, but it's just kind of how I've always done it. I've always succeeded in the idea that there are people who go through very similar things that I go through. They may not have the vision issues. They may not have the financial issues that I either have or have had in the past. They may be going through different things at different times than I did. But I don't consider everyone to be an enemy just because some people consider them to be. Success to me is watching my children understand more and more each day that they are becoming and one day will become in the image that they have in their mind's eye for their future. They will go through struggles just like the rest of us. They will hit their head against the wall a few times, preferably not because of blindness, but we all have our challenges. You know what I'm saying? Success to me is looking at the smile on my wife's face and being able to be there when she's not smiling. Okay, to be there to hold her and to comfort her. These things make me feel successful. Before I even get to the whole business thing, the things that I do, like I love working with people. As some of you know, some of you may be discovering in this video, I am a life coach. So my job is to help people find a roadmap from where they are to where they desire to be. So there is no judgment in my practice. All there is listening and advising based on the idea that everybody was made to win. It's just figuring out how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And every time I get a call and someone recognizes that they're not as trapped or the situation is not as hopeless as they thought it was, then it causes me to feel successful. Not because, I think I'm the greatest, but because I'm seeing someone get a glimmer of light. And for those of you who've never had to go through eye surgery or had to deal with some of the issues that I've had to deal with in life, there's a time right after the surgery where you have a patch over your eye. And the thing is, you have that patch on your eye sometimes for a few days, sometimes for a few weeks, depending on the surgery. Now, I remember when I had the patch removed from my eye and all this light came rushing in and I felt blinder than I was before the patch was there. And I felt pain because of how much light was coming in. And there was this point, though, when I started to recognize that my life wasn't going to always be like that, because in those moments you feel like this is what it's going to be. This is the pain I'm going to endure. This is how it's always going to look to me. I'm not going to see, everybody's talking about there's this great light and everything's going to be fine. But for me, I felt pain every time I thought about the light, and I kept trying to close my eyes and they kept telling me to open my eyes. I got to let light in. And it's hard sometimes to let light in because the idea of light or hope can be painful for some people. It really can. But the idea of success for some people is also painful, because that means that it is possible, which means that they have to work in the direction of that thing. Eventually, I opened up my eyes. And yes, it did require some help. Yes, I was mad at the doctor who held my eyelids open because I wanted to close them so bad. I was a kid, so I was screaming and crying like they were trying to hurt me. I didn't understand that they were trying to help me at the time. So by the time my eye really, because I only have one eye I can see out of, so by the time that eye is able to focus, that's when I start to realize I can see my mother again. And I can see the room that I'm in. It took a while for everything to come into focus because I don't have a lens in my eye, which meant my brain had to learn how to recalibrate to what I had left in terms of vision. And that was a struggle and a pain, but at the same time, it was victorious because I was able to see not only light, not only darkness, I saw some light. The light was painful because that hope gets painful. And then after a while, I was able to start to see the things start to take shape. And when you see things start to take shape, my mom started crying because I could see things starting to take shape before I could even recognize that I myself was excited about being able to see. The people around me were excited to see things and see that things were starting to take shape for me. So when I work with people who are losing their vision, losing their hope, losing their direction, I love road mapping. Sometimes my job does entail holding their eyes open long enough for things to start to come into focus and come in to start to take shape. But it's in those moments that I get excited for them. And in their recognition of being able to see things starting to take shape, that's where I feel successful. But not because of how, like I said, how great I think I am, but because they are starting to understand how great they are. So success to me is looking around and recognizing that everybody's growing, everybody's maturing. And although it may not be happening in the way that we want it to happen all the time, it is definitely happening. So success and failure are all based on what your idea of success or failure is. Failure is something that has to happen for you to get better. Successful people fail more than they succeed, believe it or not. But it's the ability to push past those things that make you feel like you have to start all over again, because sometimes you do. It's not like every relationship. Now, some people I know have been high school, sweethearts, and their first relationship is their only relationship they've ever been in. But it's not a prevalent thing. It's not like everybody's born into a family full of money, but they have an individual goal to start a new business. No, they either run the family business or they just, have money to play with. But not everybody starts off and stays in their first relationship. No, some of us go through multiple relationships. And if we thought and believed that we would never get to a place where we could be stably happy with somebody, then we would always be wandering. We would always, because the first relationship failed, the second relationship failed, the third relationship failed. Does that mean that there can't be a fourth one that succeeds? No. Just like when people start businesses or people launch ideas, you know, it's not like every idea that they had in Google worked out. You see what I'm saying? But we did get an incredible search engine, and that is the thing that worked, and that's the thing that paid for all of the things that didn't quite work out. So I want you to really take a look at how what you consider to be success and failure in your life. Don't give up just because giving up is easy. You know, the true test of whether or not you believe something is possible is when everybody else stops believing with you. Will you still push forward? Will you still carry on? In this community, in the blind community, for those of you who don't know, but I'm sure you know by the name of this channel, you know, I am visually impaired, and my sight goes in and comes out. So some days I can see, you know, I'm partially sighted, so I can see what I can see, and other days I can't see anything at all. But I've always made it a point to push past the expectation that people have of what I should be able to do. And those successes, pushing past those things, doesn't mean that I didn't have to struggle to get past them. It doesn't mean that I didn't have to fight myself sometimes to keep moving, but I had to move. And now I'm super happy that I did. So my idea of success isn't based on how much money I make. It's the ability to look at the world around me and say, wow, my perspective is so much different than it used to be. And the effect that I have on the world around me is so much more meaningful. So, and I have truly learned that every business I've ever started and everything that I do, you know, ultimately takes care of me and my family. So I don't usually set out with the idea of, ooh, I'm going to do this business because it makes this much money. Usually I create a business so that it affects a particular group of people that I myself have encountered, you know, on several occasions. And then after a while I say, well, then since this doesn't exist in the marketplace at this price point or in this way, let me create it because people need help. And I love people. I don't know if I can say that enough. I love people. I love seeing growth. So because of it, I started businesses that pursued my passion, and my passion happens to be the betterment of people. And those passions took care of me. The same way I pray every day that they take care of the people that God brings into my life each and every day. So anyway, I don't want to make this video too long this time. I just want you guys to know that I have not fallen off the face of the earth. I will be updating you guys with some of the things that are going on. If you have an idea of what, matter of fact, let's say it this way, because I'm not going to edit this video. I'm just going to put it up. Let me know in the comments below. What is your idea of success? What is success to you? Okay, I'm really curious because there are a lot of definitions of it out there, and I just told you mine, which means that there are several others out there, and I'm curious for your individual perspective on what is success. Okay, and those of you who want to follow me throughout social media, I realize that one thing I have not been doing is telling you how to do that in these videos. So let me tell you, although it's going to be in the description below, I will tell you that you can follow me at DSimplyD on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Okay, at DSimplyD, and there you go. Okay, I look forward to hearing from you guys, and if you want to, you know, come up, give me ideas of other topics you want me to talk about, definitely do that also in the description. I will be reading those descriptions. I'm looking forward to engaging with you guys more and more, and if you look, you'll find that I'm really active on Instagram, and I'm really active on Facebook, and I'm working on something right now that's going to give us an even more intimate relationship. So as those things come about, I'll be sure to let you guys know, but until then, I'm Simply D. It's been great catching up with you. Talk to you later. Bye for now.